Max Monday video. Today we're going to be preparing against the cold because winter is upon us.
Winter is coming.
That's the last time, I promise. We're going to start by thinking about Christmas, and although we have already explored Christmas in a different video, we're going to be thinking about it again because it is a very expensive time of year. Now, some people who are ultra organized may have already finished their Christmas shopping, but the majority of us will still be spending the time in the next few weeks buying presents for loved ones. And so the question we have to ask ourselves is, what is going to produce the most happiness? The MoneyMax philosophy is to use money to make our lives as happy as possible, rather than money being something that we serve. So, what gift will bring about the happiest result? Now, it could be something homemade. For others, it might be something that is baked, like a nice cake or a tin of biscuits, or else it might be something particularly sentimental that doesn't cost a lot of cash, but means a lot to the person who receives it. Some people might appreciate doing a spending challenge, whereby two people or a group of people agree to spend an exact amount, say £8.98, and you all have to spend that amount or as close to it as possible, and the winner is the person who gets the closest to that amount. It just adds a little bit of fun into the whole process of buying a present, but means that you don't have to spend hundreds and hundreds of pounds in order to make that person happy. We must also bear in mind that some people will be most blessed by the gift of not having to buy any presents, or certainly not buy a present for one person or a few people. A relationship can be unnecessarily strained by an unspoken assumption that you have to buy presents. So maybe the gift of not having to give a gift might be the thing that the person is looking for. Sometimes spending time with people is worth way more than spending money on people. And time is something that we get more of every single day. However, if you have a product in mind that you're going to buy for a particular person, it might be an idea to wait until the day after Christmas and go in the Boxing Day sales. Boxing Day sales can see products reduced by a substantial amount, and waiting 24 hours longer for a present might be a price worth paying in order to get it for the best possible price. Equally, Christmas dinner and food to be eaten around the Christmas period can be some of the most expensive food that we buy all year. But we mustn't assume that most expensive equals best, or that cheapest equals worst. We must judge this by our tastes and then decide. If we know for a fact beforehand that 30% of our Christmas dinner is going to end up in the bin after spending 4 days in the fridge, then maybe we should just buy 30% less food and therefore spend 30% less money. Now, in the videos over the last few weeks, we have mentioned about heating quite a number of times, but it deserves mentioning again because winter is coming, and as such, we will be using the heating a lot more, and so conserving energy and conserving heating, and therefore conserving money, will be something that we are more concerned about. How well your home is insulated will depend on how much this is a concern for yourself, but everybody will be spending more money on heating in the winter, so we should all pay a little bit of attention to it. We should heat our homes when we are cold, but we should not heat them until we are too hot. If, for example, we are wearing warm clothes and we're still feeling cold, put the heating on. But if, after a while, you are too warm wearing your jumper and your fluffy socks, then turn the heating off rather than taking your jumper off. I, for example, should turn the heating off rather than taking off my hat and gloves and scarf and coat. Also, we can get into the habit of saying that we've put the heating on now for winter, so it just stays at the same settings between November and the end of February. But as we all know, we can have deceptively mild days all the way through the winter. They're not often and they get less regular, but if you have a warmer day and you find yourself being warm in the house because the heating's on, turn the heating off. Be the master of your own heating in your own home and adjust the temperature of the heating in order to make you feel comfortable rather than just weathering being slightly warmer in the middle of December. If your radiators have an adjustable dial, let's say between 1 and 5 or 1 and 10, then use that in order to determine how warm you want the room to be. A bigger room will take more heat in order to make it feel warm than a smaller room would be. So the smaller room should, in theory, require less heat coming out of the radiator. So use those adjustable settings on your radiator in order to make that difference. Also, if your heating system has a timer, make use of that. Don't leave your heating on all day when there's nobody in the house. Set the timer so that it's going to come on just before you get home, so that as you walk in the door, it's warm and getting warmer until you are comfortable with the temperature that's there. And lastly, concerning heating, if you spend a lot of time in one room, like the kitchen or the living room, in the evening, heat that room and keep the door closed and try to keep the heat in the room rather than heating the whole house if you feel chilly. Now, it's often in wintertime that we find out how well our appliances and belongings have weathered the climate that's been thrown at them from the weather over the past year. So cars can fail to start, boilers can break down, pipes can freeze or burst, but these often don't present themselves until it gets considerably colder in the winter months. So it might be a good idea to get these vulnerable parts of our home checked by a professional in the run-up to the weather getting really savage. This could be calling a plumber or a mechanic or a gas engineer, or ensuring that you have appropriate insurances for these times. Now, if you think that you might be facing something being broken in the winter months if the weather gets really bad, it might be a good idea to get that checked sooner rather than later, and preventing rather than solving the problem. Now, because of this, and as well as because of Christmas being expensive, this can be a time of year when people find themselves getting into more debt. We'll be talking about debt and the benefits and drawbacks of being in debt in a future video, but we need to be aware and conscious of what we're doing when we are getting into debt because we feel like we should be buying that item, or that amount of presents, or those goods, or those types of foods. A helpful way of looking at it can be to assess a situation on the scale of a month or a year rather than a day or a week. Is this purchase that you're considering getting into debt for going to look as appealing if you're still paying it off in 8 months' time? If it's not, then maybe we need to reassess whether or not it's the best idea to go ahead and buy it. Debt is like fire. It can save your life and cook your food, or it can leave you very badly burnt. Now, on Friday of this week, which will be the 24th of November, we might well find ourselves seeing scenes like this. This is Black Friday, and while it's been a long-standing tradition in the United States because of its links with Thanksgiving, it's recently gained a lot of traction in the United Kingdom. I do find scenes like this quite disturbing to watch, to see just how far people will go in order to get the best deal. But it does give us a glimpse of the almost religious way that we think about shopping. If you're willing to scramble over a total stranger to get an Xbox, I think we've lost something more that is gained by getting a good bargain. Now, there may well be some very good deals that we can take advantage of on Black Friday and Cyber Monday being the online equivalent of Black Friday, but it's very important that we plan and prepare for what we're going to buy and think about how much we're willing to spend rather than buying in a frenzy and end up buying something that we might later regret. That's it for today. I'm going to go and take this hat and coat off because it's quite warm in here. Thank you very much for watching. If you have watched these videos and you've saved some money, even a little bit of money, please let me know in the comments. I'd be very interested to hear if anybody has saved some money through watching these videos. Thank you very much to everyone who has liked, subscribed and shared these videos over the last month. If you have any requests for videos you'd like to see or general comments, please leave them in the comment section below. Next week we'll be finishing our series about how to spend less without enjoying less, looking at how we communicate. And so until then, have a very good week and I'll see you next Monday.